Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Start with Cyrus. Man, let me tell you something. Watching this episode, you can clearly see a man that is broken. It's never really been the same since that incident happened with him accidentally running over his dad. He's just never been the same, and everything that he's done, the way, with Sasha and the floating rib and everything else, this is all a result of that instance, of him killing his dad and his mother reacting the way that she did. There's one point where, his mother starts to regain consciousness, and Cyrus walks over. And at first she seems like she's having an episode, like she can't remember what she is, and then she's like, oh yeah, you killed my husband or whatever, and Cyrus is just like, it's like he's reverting back to that scared kid, that scared kid that is sad because his mother is disappointed in him. And, he was like, I need you to look at me. I need you to pretend, to see me who I am, instead of this, this guy who killed your husband. There's one point where Laura, despite really hating him, pulls him out of the room and is like, don't ask her for something more than she's able to give you. And she's actually being, for a good, 2 minutes or whatever, is actually being civil to him. And, they have a nice talk for a little bit, and then it goes right back. I don't know where the conversation turned left, but I think at some point where Cyrus was like, see, and, we're just alike. And I was like, whoa, hey. She was actually being nice to you. And that's about to go out the window right about now. And, at this point, Laura's like, well, you knew the whole time. Why didn't you just tell me that we were related? And, Cyrus was like, well, if I did, would you believe me? And Laura was like, and Cyrus was like, yeah, that's what I thought. So at some point they're talking, and it gets a little kind of heated. I think it was somewhere along the lines of, we're the same. And, Laura's like, listen, I made mistakes, you made mistakes, but I've grown, and I've been different. I've been trying to make the world a better place. And you just, you're just you. And that's when Laura was like, listen, you're responsible for your niece being, in a coma at this point. And that's when Cyrus is about to lose it. Like, at one point, I thought he was about to strangle Laura. And Gray walks out, Martin Gray walks out. He's like, hey, it kind of breaks him up a little bit. They talk. Where's my... They talk for a little bit. He makes his veiled threats. Even when he was like, oh, well, you don't want me for an enemy. Else what? You're going to kill your sister? I mean, I wouldn't put it past him, but I'm just like, knowing, when you try to take a shot at Laura the first time, you didn't know that you're related. You know that you're related. So, I mean, are you really going to sit there and try to kill your sister? I don't think so. I'm gonna say no. So he goes back in the room, and Laura and Martin, head out. Well, Martin escorts Laura out because he's like, yo, listen, somebody's gonna figure out what's going on. you might want to leave now. So they head out, and this is where Cyrus starts to show more of his true colors. And I wanted to sit there and just take a minute, because with Cyrus, you're seeing a lot more layers as his character's, been there. As his character started to be in the show. And thinking of layers and past and stuff like that, like, bringing up his past and all this other stuff, his tragic backstory. And I sit there and think about the people that were upset when Dustin got killed off, and I'm just like, why? Why? I mean, this guy was filler. We knew nothing about this guy other than apparently he was supposed to be, a romantic love interest for Lulu. And that was about it. Other than that, but he had a history with Brooklyn? Okay, cool. What there was supposed to be a love triangle going on there? That, like, I guess they must have kind of just realized how paper thin Dustin's character was, and they were just like, another paper thin character was, I know I'm getting off topic, but it's just amazing how much effort they put into making Cyrus. And then you look at, Jesus Christ, what is his name? Dev. Oh my goodness, I actually forgot his name. I was literally for a good 2 minutes like, what is his name? Dev. Knew nothing about him. Did he have any family? Did he have parents? Siblings? Anything. And what happened to those people once he got to the States? What, they were just like, he's in the USA. Well, that ends that. Like, no one tried to come after him. The whole point of him leaving was to get protection from Sonny. Okay. And they just said, oh, it's Sonny. Like, nothing about his character, backstory or anything. He was just there to be a filler and possibly be a love interest for Jocelyn. Until they realized how weird that was because they both lived in the same house. So, yeah, I find it really interesting how much effort they put into Cyrus. And with that being said, man, did we see his true color. We start to see more layers of him. There was one point where you realize that the reason why he's did this whole drug kingpin and make himself a very rich and wealthy man was a lot of it is, to make his mother proud. And this scene, he's like throwing it in her face, literally. He's like, oh, I have $100 bills. I just use as singles. And he throws it at her while she's in a bed. I'm like, really? Like, I haven't seen a scene that was that raw on GH in a very long time. But he starts throwing money at her. He's like, oh, I got a black card. It's unlimited. And he throws it at her, too. By the way, those black cards, those unlimited, like, American Express black cards, they can take somebody out. I think those are literally made out of steel. He throws that card at her. Then he takes the badge or whatever. It's like, I'm a respectable man. I can buy you anything, this, that, and the third. And I was like, okay. Now I see why you built up this criminal empire for. You can kind of start to see the reasons why, and I was just like, wow, that was probably the best scene in this episode. Yeah, so that ends that. Dante comes to visit Carly, and here's the thing, I took off as far as like stopped watching it for a little bit with GH, and so when Dante came to Carly's, he was like, oh, I'm just wondering, how did we finish paying for that house? Because, well, we didn't have the money. And, the realtor turned us down. We made a bid. And magically, we got the house again. And I'm just wondering why and how that happened. So he talks to, he talks to Carly, whatever. And Carly's like, yes, okay, he did it or whatever. And he also meets Donna, clearly off screen. That's pretty much about it. I mean, they just talked about Sunday. It was nothing really too great or anything like that. It just seemed that Carly was worried about Sunny from the beginning of the episode. Calling him, calling Jason. Just really super worried or whatever. And this is where we're gonna get into Valentine and Anna. And Valentine's like, yo, so is he safe around my daughter? You know, like is Dante safe around my daughter? And at first I felt like Anna was kind of like, well, you know, he has to be okay because, you know, the WSB let him go. And, you know, Valentine's like, that's not really an answer. Are you convincing me or are you convincing yourself? So, long story short, I felt like she said it without saying it, but she pretty much is like, Dante isn't all there. You know, he isn't all there, and there must be some sort of reason why they decide to let him go early. You know, like what is he on a mission or something like that? Like, or are they going to use him for something? So they talk about that for a little bit, and at this point, Maxie and Peter, you know, come in and interrupts. They found out that they're having a girl. Yeah, they found out they're having a girl. What else happens? That's it. They find out they're having a girl, and they tell Anna and Valentine, and then Anna and Maxie talk for a little bit, and Valentine gets a chance to talk to Peter. They talk a little bit, and you know, Peter's like, well, you know, if I would have saw, you know, if he would have been a boy, I would have saw a Faison, but knowing that it's a girl, I can kind of just see, you know, my mother. And, you know, this is when Valentine flashed back to, you know, the fact that he knows that Anna is not his mother and that is Alex. So he's sitting there and he's, like, smiling in his face, and I'm just like, you know he's going to be really upset with you when he finds out that you knew that Alex was his mother and you didn't say anything to him. And in a lot of ways, I feel like Peter looks up to Valentine like he's a father. So you know he's going to be just devastated. Yeah, he's going to be devastated. And let's jump over to Finn, Chase, and I forgot his name. Is his name Harry or something? I don't remember what this guy's name is. I'm going to try to find what this guy's name is tonight after I'm done. Anyway, Chase and his dad decide to come over there and play poker with Finn. And, you know, they hash out some stuff, you know. As far as the wedding, you know, why he didn't go to the wedding. Well, he kind of gives him a BS lie of why he didn't go to the wedding. But he basically was like, you know, listen, it's not you, it was me. And, you know, don't take what you did too hard on yourself. It had a lot to do with me. And, you know, at this point, it's just, I'm not going to lie, it's just him lying straight to his dad and lying to Chase. And I get it. You know, he's lying to Chase to spare his feelings. He's lying to his dad to spare his feelings. But at the end of the day, that whole scene that he was sitting there talking about with him and how he forgave him and it wasn't his fault and, you know, I was the person that was bad. It was just one big, giant lie. And so after our poker game is over, Anna comes back. And Finn is like, you know what, listen, I gotta tell you the truth about the real reason why I didn't go to the wedding. You know? Because when he told his dad the reason why, I can't even remember what he said. I think he was like, I don't remember what he said. I know it was a lie. I know he didn't actually tell him the real reason why. When he was talking to Annie, he was like, listen, I gotta tell you everything. You know? There was one part where Finn was talking to his dad. And his dad, I think his dad said something that Jackie covered for him, like the reason why he didn't go to the wedding or something like that. And how she felt like she was partly responsible for rushing things and not giving him this time to grieve and felt like they married too soon. And, you know, there was one point where the dad was like, you know, Jackie was always very fond of you. And I was like, yeah, I'm just like, bro, the guilt is just really piling on. So I think that's why he decided, you know, he's going to decide to tell Anna the full truth, which he really should. And yeah, she's probably going to be upset, but I hope he tells her the truth. I hope it's not going to be one of those things where it's like they wait and they they wait, and they wait, and they wait, and they wait. And then finally, when the truth comes out, Anna's going to be pissed off because he didn't tell her when he had the chance. Now let's go with Jason. He's at the edge of the bridge or whatever. He's calling Sonny's name. He's not answering. He literally jumps in the water. He still couldn't find him. So he's searching on the grounds or whatever. He sees the police, and the police at some point bring out a body. The body is Julian. So Julian is officially dead. So I'm not gonna lie, when they showed whenever they show the intro to GH and they show all the different faces and stuff like that, and they showed Julian, I was like, okay, so like tomorrow he's not gonna be on the intro, right? Like his face isn't gonna be there. We're like actually done with this character. I like Julian in the beginning. I felt like his character was just going downhill towards the end, and they finally just decide to just either put him out of his misery, or the actor decided to just do other better things. Anyway, he is officially dead. So while the police are sitting there talking, they hear like a creak or whatever. One of the officers goes and check, and he's not there because apparently Jason is Batman. Towards the end of the episode, after Dante leaves Carly and Sonny's place, the door opens up. And I was going to say Laura, right? Carly's like, Sonny or whatever. And then she turns around, she sees Jason, and Jason just has that look on his face. 1 second. Jason just has that look on his face, where you could just tell there's something wrong, and he's all like wet and everything like that, and Carly's like, what happened to Sonny? What happened to Sonny? So, I guess we may know throughout the rest of the week, or at least up until Wednesday. Because Thursday they're not doing GH. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a rerun. And the same thing with, Friday's Christmas, so they're not going to actually do anything on Christmas. Which is odd, because Days actually has a new episode, so I really don't understand what's going on with that, but okay, sure, whatever. Yeah, so that's actually going to do it. This episode, here's the thing, I don't think that they're going to kill off Sonny. Because love him or hate him, he brings in the ratings. Whenever it comes towards a storyline, a really crazy and great storyline, 9 times out of 10, Sonny and his family, or the family involved, the Corinthos or whatever, will get it first. And everyone else just gets sort of the leftovers. With Cyrus, yeah, they're throwing in Laura, they're throwing in... But that's just because he's so much of a big threat. He's not just a threat to Sonny and his business, he's a threat to everyone. Which is why they're giving Laura and Curtis and Jordan and other people something to do. But, in this episode, it was Peter and Maxie talking about their baby. That was it. And then they brung up, Maxie was talking about the double wedding, and, Anna was just like, oh, cool, and she just didn't say anything, and it was like, alright, cool, I'm glad that Peter and Maxie were there to add pretty much nothing to the story. I mean, what did they really do? Only thing that they were there for was... What was they even there for? I guess to make Valentine feel kind of guilty for lying to Peter's face. There was one part. Now I'm sitting there thinking about it. So, Anna's sitting there trying to explain Dante's, PTSD, and he's like, he's fine, he's whatever. And Valentine's like, so, remember that time that he shot your son? And Anna's like, oh, well, he was suffering through PTSD, and, he was in the line, he was in, Peter's sight as far as his line of sight or whatever. I was like, that's your son. That's like a son to you. And you're just like, I can explain that away. You should be like, yo, listen, here's the thing. If you can't trust, Like, he shot your son. He shot your son. He shot a grown-ass man. And you honestly are having hesitation with telling Valentine, hey, listen, maybe Dante isn't the best person to be around his daughter. You're having trouble after he just shot your son. How? Okay. Alright, yeah. So anyway, with that being said, I think that's actually about it. I don't think I really missed too much of anything. Thank you for watching. I know this came out super late, but, you know, Mondays is always my late days, and then tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week, it'll be back to normal, like usual. But, yes, with that being said, I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Also, just in case anyone's wondering, I said this in days, I don't delete comments. So if anyone actually wrote a comment and I didn't get to it, or it was just erased for some odd reason, that wasn't me, that was YouTube bots, and just the way that YouTube is running their site, because they're quote-unquote down on manpower, so unfortunately sometimes bots come in and they delete comments or whatever. I don't think it's happened on at least my GH reviews, but if it has, I'm sorry, and it's not me, and I do not delete comments because I like reading comments. When I'm at work, they have other people's perspectives, and I kind of felt like I just need to make a PSA since I did it on days. And with that being said, thank you for listening to my rant. Let me know what you thought of this episode. I will catch everyone in the next review.